Hey, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again for a public access TV watch party. I see Weedian is already in chat saying, I'm waiting and wish there was more in my life. Weedian, what more do you need in your life than these wonderful public access clips from the 80s and 90s and good friends like us to share them with you? Hey, Tommy, who's saying yay. Hi, Skyscraper Television, saying good evening, Rich. Thanks for all of you joining. We did this Monday night, and I'm just kind of testing the waters to see if there might be an audience for this twice a week. We'll see. Michael J. Lyons says, howdy doody. Howdy doody to you, Michael J. Lyons, and hi to everybody else joining us. I thought we'd get started tonight with another clip from the Richard Roffman Show. There was good response to previous Richard Roffman clips that were shown here, and thought that you might enjoy seeing some more. This is, so for anyone who's joining us new, hasn't seen the Richard Roffman Show, doesn't know what it is, Richard Roffman was a longtime public access talk show. And he basically would pack his stage with lots of people, actors, authors, inventors, and people would give him contributions, financial contributions, which would really dictate how much time they would get on the show. So what we're going to be looking at is the second half of the half hour, which is when things really got interesting. The first 15 minutes were the people that were kind of the more serious authors and would give Richard Roffman some cash to get a good position on the show. And then came the second half of the show when a lot of our favorites showed up. So let's take a look. I'm going to call up. This is Richard H. Roffman Presents. Here we go.
I want to say hello now very quickly to a marvelous gentleman whose whole life is dedicated to helping others. That's Mr. M. Vincent Hayes. And he has an announcement to make about a forthcoming event that's very exciting. What's the event?
It's the Beaux-Arts Christmas Party at the Williams Club, 24 East 39th Street on December 12th, a Thursday. From 6 until 8 p.m. at a modest donation. There will be celebrities, a guest of honor, music, a comedian, a magician, and even, what do you call it when you're a satirist?
Yes, a satirist?
A satirist.
Yeah. By the way, this is a non-profit Beaux-Arts organization, not a commercial venture. What phone number should people call to get more details?
For further information, please call area code 212 Gramercy 3 GR3 4546. That's Gramercy 3 4546.
Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Now I want to say that.
So yes, this was Mr. Hayes, who appeared a number of times on Beyond Vaudeville. If you look at a Rich Brown Rewind that I did with Stephen Korn, our director of our Christmas episode, we talk at length about Mr. Hayes. And I didn't really know that much background on him until I discovered that his widow had written a book called Reflections of an Octogenarian. And there's lots of really fascinating information in here about our friend M. Vincent Hayes. And, you know, I knew him as this guy who would, he lived in Gramercy Park, which was this very exclusive area of Manhattan. He was a lawyer, and he would run these Beaux-Arts balls, where he would basically spend all of the money that his wife would make on Wall Street throwing these balls. Anyway, you can find out a lot more about him if you watch that episode I was talking about. Rick Cutler, I want to thank you very much for participating in the Super Chat. Those of you who have been here before and have already contributed to Super Chat, it's much appreciated. It's used to further digitize more and more of these clips, which are, you know, exist on VHS in box loads in my collection. So we're going through the process of digitizing them and sharing them with you. Let's go back to Richard H. Roffman Presents, and you'll see some other familiar faces if you're a Beyond Vaudeville watcher.
There's a gentleman here who's writing music to make computers more intelligent, no, more legible, I mean more understandable to youngsters. His name is Joel Martin Cohn, but he's known in the industry of his creative work as Citizen Cohn, K-O-H-N, and he has, as a matter of fact, come out with a tape which is now available at Tower Records. Tell me about your work. Who is this fella? Who is this guy?
Well, I brought my computer dog, Techie, with me. We're going over some computer designs, and he helps me. I'm just having him here contemplating part of the microprocessor design. Allow me to hand you the computer chip cookie for the day.
Computer chip cookie. Don't eat the chips. Eat
Don't
the
eat the
cookie.
chips.
Yeah, okay, there it is. And
My work is an attempt to make computers less mystifying for everybody. Particularly children take easily to microcomputers since the computer industry and the computer technology of today is rather primitive. They are sort of like young children. They don't think in multifarious tangential ways yet, but soon computers will be more like humans and will be able to process faster. And in the meantime, my songs are meant to demystify and make computers less threatening.
yeah, now can you give us an idea of what the beginning is of one of your songs, just how it sounds, a little idea?
For example, I wrote a song called Bit by Bit on the Serial Bus, which is about asynchronous data communications. You can hear this song on the Kids America radio show on American Public Radio. I also have a song out called High Tech Girl, about a boy looking for his high-tech lover through the computer phone lines, also to be heard on Kids America.
These people have honorable intentions. Do they plan to get engaged and married and raise a family?
Certainly, and
I hope
probably
so.
have some computers along.
That's very good. Okay, where can people get in touch with you? Because what you're doing is educational as well as recording for, you know, dissemination to the public. Is there any place that you would like to be contacted?
Well, the tapes can be bought at Tower Records, and I can be reached in Manhattan at 212-989-2565.
Okay, but he's really doing a lot of work to make kids not afraid of, but more, you know, sort of amenable and relaxed with computers, and this music has a public service aspect to it. I want to say hello now to a fabulous artist. He is none other than Konstantin Bokov, B-O-K-O-V, and he does landscapes and portraits, and he is here from his native land of Russia, and his work is very beautiful. Do you have an idea? Yes, let's do something. Okay, let's show something. All right. Well, what is that? What is that? What is that?
This is
That's a collage, right?
dance breaking.
What is that? Dance.
Breaking dance.
Breaking
dance.
Yeah, the break dance. Yes.
Break dancer.
I see. That's good.
And this is my influence, great impact with great city, New York. First time I come here 10 years ago, and this city almost killed me. I was very depressed, and I just was dead. But now I feel I understand this city, and I love it much. And I have, in the near future, I have great project to do series of paintings about this great city, because now I know it and I love it.
All right, don't tell us who you're looking at, but why don't you, while I talk to one other person, why don't you do a very quick sketch of somebody, one of the people here. Can you do that, please? But we'll sort of talk to somebody else while Konstantin Bokov does it. By the way, he's available for all kinds of assignments. He'll have shows in galleries. He's fantastic. And while... Yeah, okay, just continue because time fleets away. I want to say hello to...
So Konstantin Bokov was an early guest on Beyond Vaudeville, and as pointed out by Chris Bungo Studios in the chat, he draws with his feet. Yes, he is able to draw with his feet. I'm happy to say, as far as I know, Konstantin Bokov is still alive and approaching 90, maybe somewhere around there. He, for years, would do street art He would just use found objects and make art all over the city. Instead of graffiti, he would do these sort of sculptures and paintings that he would hang in random places around New York. Yeah, he's kind of a bit of a legend there. Let's go back, and there'll be some more familiar faces.
Louise Sanders, author of Thoughts in Verse, and she has a poem to share with us at this holiday time.
Contentment. Walk that second mile, my friend, especially when you're blue. Don't let that lonesome feeling get any hold on you. Start with what you have, even though it may seem small. Give thanks and bless the good that is at your beck and call. And before you know it, your frown changes to a smile when you go past the appearance and you walk that second mile. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise Sanders. On the way over here, you know, I hailed a limousine, that is a car service, the West End car service. And who do we meet on the street but my good friend, Miss Akins. First name Claire Akins, right? Elaine Akins. And she is a writer of music, and also she's in the word processing field. And I understand that you have a tape ready for us to hear a little bit of tonight. What's the name of the song?
Rachel, Sweet Rachel. My mother, Mary Akins, wrote it almost 2.5 years ago.
Your mother and father are both into songwriting?
Yes.
That's very good. But you're also into performing, aren't you? Also a...
Yes, I'm a performer, and I also write songs. I acquired the talent from them. Now, we'll be releasing my own records on the air within the next 2 months. Rachel, Sweet Rachel will be the first.
Okay, let's hear some of Rachel, Sweet Rachel. I understand it's a beautiful number. Okay, let's go.
Should I get up to do it?
You can do it, but they can do it too. I mean, you can get it. Oh, there it is. He did Dr. Merkin. That's constant. Okay, all right, let's go, please. Let's do it right now. Go ahead.
Blue eyes like the sky, dance and dance like you could fly and fly. Fairy light upon your dancing feet, swaying, dipping, twirling, sweet, Rachel sweet. My first glimpse of your raven
Yes, and who are some of the other famous people from Oklahoma that write songs and sing around the country?
John Denver originally was born in Oklahoma.
Oh, yes.
Ricky Skaggs is a famous country western singer. He's very well known. Gail Davis produces her own record. She's with Warner Brothers, I believe. And that's a few.
And the other thing you're into now is what? Word processing?
Yes, EA Associates, and we can be reached at 724-2800.
Good.
And we install, design, and implement computer systems as well as word processing.
Just want to say hello to this gentleman.
So she enjoyed singing and word processing. You know, I always wondered for someone like her coming on the show, she got all dressed up and she had her hair done and then just faced like the worst technical difficulties. You know, it was these shows that we shot at this same studio and it was just an assembly line. Like there wasn't time to get it right. There wasn't time to do a second take. Inevitably, anytime They would bring audio on in the studio from the booth. There would be this tremendous screeching feedback that we would all, it would hurt our ears. You just heard it there again. Anyway, just catching up on chat here. Dennis Devine is asking, did Roffman ever guest on Beyond Vaudeville? And thanks for airing this. Yes, Dennis. Richard Roffman did appear at least twice on Beyond Vaudeville. Once with Gretchen Wiener, who was his good friend, on an early episode. And we also did an episode where we gave awards out to our favorite public access hosts, including Frank Massey from Stairway to Stardom, and Chris and Bernard from Change Yourself But Not the World, Arthur Grundig, and Dick Roffman. They were all there. Jose Montano, I want to thank you very much for your contribution to Super Chat, as well as Rick Cutler. Thank you both, much appreciated as we go through the laborious process of digitizing all of this video. Let's see what else we've got here in chat. Lisa1111 says she kind of looks like a young Madonna. And Matthew Fuller says she reminds him of Juice Newton. Lisa's checking in from Seattle. Hi, Lisa, in Seattle. Let me see what else. I'm just catching up here on chat. Adam Droid is saying he may not feature tonight, but do you have any information about Chairman Steve, the poet laureate? Actually, I do have Chairman Steve, a clip of him that I'm going to show. So you're way ahead of me, Adam. Let's see, what else do we have here in the chat? Catching up. I think that's pretty much up to speed. Adam Droid is saying that he could watch a 2-hour TED Talk with M. Vincent Hayes. I'm with you, Adam. He was endlessly fascinating, Mr. Hayes. Rick Cutler's asking, when will the Beyond Vaudeville merch store be back on Etsy? Rick, that should be in another week or two. So just keep watch. If you haven't already liked and subscribed to our social media here at Beyond Vaudeville on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram, make sure you do so that you'll know when things like that are coming up. All right, let's go back to the Dick Roffman Show and see who else he has, including at least, I think, 2 more familiar faces of Beyond Vaudeville guests.
Red Lightning is a performer. One of these days we're going to have him perform for you, but I just want to ask him one more time, what instruments do you play?
The guitar.
The guitar. And what kind of music do you sing? What do you call that kind of music? What's your descriptive term?
If you can name it, you can claim it.
Thank you very much. Okay. And this gentleman's name is...
So you can see how little time our beloved Red Lightning got on the show. And that would indicate that he didn't grease Dick Roffman's palm in quite the same way as some of the other guests. So let's continue. It's really Dick Roffman's loss that he didn't get to spend more time with Red Lightning, because any of you who have watched Red Lightning on any of our Beyond Vaudeville shows and knows what a great performer and interviewee he was. Okay, here we go.
Your name? Jurgen Jacobson is a film director and a photographer, and he always has some advice for people who are getting up their portfolios to submit to casting agents. What's a new bit of advice, something new that you can tell them to do?
There's nothing new except be yourself.
Be yourself. Okay, and here is a favorite singer of Joe Franklin. Takes him around to all the assignments that Joe Franklin appears at personally, and his name is Tommy Rocco. And I think our engineering department does have one of your tapes or records. Is that true?
It's Anne in Indiana.
Anne in Indiana by Tommy Rocco. And by the way, usually we have Chairman Steve, a poet, here today, but he had a booking on a big network show, and he couldn't make it to our regional show, but he'll be back next week. Okay, let's go to Anne in Indiana.
To see my Anna in Indiana, just as playful as a baby grand piano. Not very nifty, weighs just 250. But a great big fat girl now and then is relished by the best of men. Anna, in Indiana, will have my arms as far around her as they'll go. I'm all through with Broadway sallies. Now I long for hills and valleys. I'm going back to Indiana. To wed my Anna.
Thank you, Tommy Rocco, and I hope you continue with your good work for many years to come. May I say, by the way, that Evelyn Ninekin is a teacher of drama and a poetry therapist, and she works very closely with McKesson.
I should just mention that Johnny Jupiter and his satellites was asking, did Tommy Rattacco grease the palm of Dick Roffman? Good question, Johnny Jupiter. I would suspect Tommy Rattacco was very friendly with Joe Franklin, and Joe Franklin was sort of the notch up above this Dick Roffman. And so Dick Roffman counted on Joe Franklin to send a lot of the people that would gravitate toward him. Joe would send them, if Joe didn't want to put him on his show, which was on basically a broadcast channel, he would pass the people on to Dick Roffman, and Dick Roffman was only too happy to take those guests. So I'm guessing that Dick might have been giving Tommy Rattacco a little more time, even without getting reimbursed, because it was important for him to have that relationship with Joe Franklin. All right, let's continue.
McKesson Forbes, who is a famous artist, and she also works with Dr. Jack Leedy. And the three people are founding an organization called the Performing and Graphic Arts Foundation. And the number to call if you want further information is 212-473-0392. I just want to say that they are very, very effective in helping people develop and pull out from under the latent talent and give it exposure of the very finest kind. How did that portrait come out? How did we do? Yes?
Yes,
it was
did.
A good job. Good job. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's very good. Okay. I want to say, by the way, yeah, I know. That's we did too. Right? He did too. I want to say now that Brother Ignatius has two organizations, one of them celebrating 14 years, and when you were on the David Letterman show on NBC Channel 4 the other night when I brought some of my Discovery, famous, wonderful people, what was the message you were telling about cabbage? Was it cabbage? Yeah.
I was telling the audience to take good care in eating cauliflower, because cauliflower, having the resemblance of the insulated tissue of the human brain, can stimulate the brain cells and prevent cancerous situations.
I see. And what led you 20 years ago to form all these organizations? Was it a dream that you had as a child? What is the story of how you got into this work? When did you get your basic learning? Very quickly, please.
My basic learning came to me through a vision.
A vision. I see.
And from that, I developed all these different things without consideration of what they are and their work. And what we are doing now, we are celebrating the 14th anniversary because we hope to put up a structure such as this one here. A structure that will help the one and only race, the human race.
Thank you very much. I want to close by mentioning that an organization called the Folio Educational Trust had a meeting the other night here in New York at the Hilton Hotel, and they gave the annual awards to people who deserve it, putting them into the Publishing Hall of Fame. And many of the leading executives of major magazines and other publishing ventures are now in the Publishing Hall of Fame, and the names are too many to mention, but I just want to say that it's a very good idea to honor people who are not in the public eye. These are not authors. These are executives and high officials in many ways of the publishing industry who brought out the best in these writers and make it possible for these book publishers to be a source of never-ending joy and information through the books that they publish. That's the Publishing Hall of Fame, sponsored by the Folio Educational Trust. I also want to say that we thank the New Century Publishers here in New York for sending us a book called McDougall's Medicine, A Challenging Second Opinion by Dr. John A. McDougall. It's a book that I very, very definitely recommend to you because it tells about cancer and heart disease and hypertension and diabetes and arthritis and so on, and they give you many other alternate ideas on what to do. Thank you, and good afternoon, good evening when you are hearing the show, whatever time it is. God bless you all.
Bravo, Richard Roffman.
So you could hear that at the end, one of the guests saying, I think it was the poet Louise Sanders saying, "Bravo, Mr. Roffman." All of these people that appeared on Dick Roffman's show loved Dick Roffman, and the question is asking the question asked here in chat by Dennis Devine is: Roffman seems all business. Did he have a sense of humor regarding his quirky guests? If he did, Dennis, he really didn't share it. I don't really recall him laughing very much. He was very much about just constantly hustling and doing these shows and trying to pack as many people as he possibly could on them. He also mentioned in that appearance, I don't know if you caught it, that he was on David Letterman, and that's true. You can find these clips on Don's channel, the DONZ, the guy who has chronicled all of the David Letterman shows on tape. And he's put up on YouTube Roffman's two appearances. Basically, and both times, Dick Roffman would sit on the couch and be surrounded by a couple of his guests, and he would introduce them, and they would each do a little performance or speak, be interviewed by Letterman. So they're interesting segments if you look for those on YouTube. Lee Sana is asking, was I a fan of Stairway to Stardom? Absolutely, Lee. And I had mentioned in our last TV watch party here that I don't show clips of Stairway to Stardom just because I feel like they're so well known now, because they were so well preserved and they've been shared by so many. So I'm trying to show stuff that maybe you haven't seen and will be new to you, I hope. Austin Galloway is asking, how is David doing? David is doing well, and I would pass along that you say hello, but he probably wouldn't care. And Mr. Spiletta saying, is there any talk or hope of bringing the show back? Sure, Mr. Spiletta. There's certainly hope and some talk. So yeah, stay tuned on that. Let's see what else we've got here in the chat. Adam Droid liked my version of Tiptoe Through the Tulips. Thank you for that, Adam Droid. That is up on a recently posted UCB show in New York that is at Beyond Vaudeville on YouTube. And what else do we have here? There was a question of who's behind me, and it looks like Adam actually answered that. Yes, Tiny Tim and his protege Izzy Fertel are behind me on the wall. And there was some talk in here about the squirrel nut zippers. Interestingly, when we were doing Oddville, I was hoping to get the squirrel nut zippers on there, and I can't remember what went down with the music department, if they couldn't align the schedules, or they might have been touring at the time. I don't know, but I thought they would have been great musical guests on Oddville. I think I'm going to just keep moving on here so we can look at more video. So let's take a look. Oh, and before I continue, I do want to thank those of you who have participated in Super Chat. to help in the digitizing of all of these shows from the VHS that they were recorded onto. Thank you, Rick Cutler. Thank you, Jose Montano. And thank you, anyone joining us tonight who had participated in Super Chats previously. It's much appreciated. Okay, let's go back and take a look. I'm going to bring up another Dick Roffman Show. And again, this is the second half of the Dick Roffman Show, which is when, as I said earlier, the show would always get more interesting, because the first half were kind of the more serious author types. And then the second half were the people that, you know, weren't giving much of a contribution to Dick Roffman and were just getting, you know, a minute or less to share their wares on the show. So here we go.
Very good. Thank you very much. This gentleman, Chairman Steve, is a very noted poet. He is Poet Laureate of Greenwich Village as of 1983, and he has a book, three books out on poetry. Here they are, right here, a couple of volumes. What poem do you want to share with us today?
This is called Archie Cox. Koch.
Koch.
New York no longer has Tom Seaver. Most valuable is a golden retriever. For our city now alert on watch is the favorite pet of Mayor Koch. Though loud he barks, Ed sleeps like a log, so dearly does he love his dog. And so no matter what the cost, the dog is found whenever lost. We taxpayers are glad to pay. Our darling Pooch is here today. And all know why he's still alive, to join when entering a dive and run behind the cops on raids. His master didn't give him AIDS.
Thank you very much. You're very funny. Okay. Helen Pappas is a name known to all people who want to get a new look facially and, you know, head-wise without resorting to cosmetic surgery. Helen Pappas here in New York is doing a great job in a new way, in a new kind of way. And I just want to say that there is no doubt in my mind that she has something to offer everybody. What do you call the work you do? What is the name of that kind of service?
Okay, the name of the service is non-surgical facelift, we call it, but actually it's not just for a person that needs a facelift. It's for everybody to maintain youth and beauty and a healthy glow with complexion.
I see. Now, is it done through massage, or is it done through some scraping, or what is the technique?
It's done through electronic stimulation.
I see. And is it for people of all ages? I mean, is it for older people as well as teenagers?
For everybody.
Yes?
Everybody can look anywhere from 5 to 10, 15 years younger.
I see.
It's safe, it's painless, and it's very effective. I've been doing it for 6 years, and I have wonderful results.
How many minutes is the average visitation to your salon? In other words, how long was like a treatment? It takes how much time?
The average treatment is about 45 minutes.
I see. I see. And after a couple of treatments, do you see a distinct change, an improvement?
Results immediately.
Yes?
We actually do. We do one side of the face, one side of it. And then we take a picture, and then we let you see it in the mirror.
Yeah.
And then we complete the treatments, and we keep that picture all the time. And then as we follow, you're able to see the changes and the improvements. And it's also, you know, you can feel the tightness, you can feel the changes.
In the phone book, are you listed as Helen Pappas?
Yeah.
In Queens and in New York, right? And Manhattan. Okay, we're going to call on you for, maybe you could show us some of that equipment or whatever you brought in the next half hour, okay? All right. Now, this gentleman has something to do with a love for cats. What is your name?
My name is John Galpwitz, and about 2.5 years ago, I invented what's called a kitty tease, and this is one of them.
Yeah, and what is the meaning of it? What does it mean?
Okay, well, it's about the only cat toy that really works. You know? I'll show you. All you have to do is just toss it out, and you just twitch it along, and it looks just like a little mouse.
Oh,
cats just go crazy for it.
I see.
And I sell these mail order, and I'm here in New York City to do the big Empire Cat Show coming up.
Oh, you're going to do the Empire Cat? When is it coming up? How soon?
That's this weekend.
I see. At what hotel or what place?
That's at the shipping terminal.
Oh, down at the waterfront, yes. Okay, we'll get back to you in a minute. I want to say hello to a gentleman here by the name of Paul Sorensen, and he is you know, as you can see, a singer, a musician, and composer. Do you represent any musical group? Are you speaking in behalf of 10,000 musicians and songwriters, or only a small number?
Yes, a double yes. Right now I'm working with the Songwriters Guild, and that's my basic background at this particular time. The rest is all a matter of storytelling my music in a folklore kind of way.
I see. And where do you do that usually?
Well, right now it's very difficult. That's why I'm looking to kind of spread it around a little bit more, because everything in music now is more of a compact set thing.
Yeah.
And whereas, say, in the 60s, things were a little bit more in a creative mode, and there were more folk singers within that realm, and I tried to kind of mesh it together with a beat and still saying something in a folklore kind of way. I feel people need that.
Well, we'll get back to you a little later. I want to say hello to Joan Mollison, very talented actress, and her associate here. Your name, sir?
Philip Wentworth.
Philip Wentworth. And tell me, Joan, what have you been doing lately? What is the reason that the two of you here are sort of favoring us with your presence?
We're doing a very clever comedy, serial comedy, at the name of theater called Summer Tour, in which I play an actress who is supposed to be the first lady of the theater, and Mr. Wentworth plays my live-in companion, manager, butler, what have you.
When was it, in what year, approximately what time is the action? Oh, it's a now play.
Modern.
Modern play, okay. And have you already done it? Is the public already coming to see it?
It's running. It's gotten very glowing reviews.
Yes. How long will it be around on that set in the Nameless Theater?
Yes. Through November 17th.
I see.
Sunday, but we hope to get an extension because it's really causing a lot of upheaval, a lot of happy...
yeah. What were your first days in the theater? In dance or in some other field?
Well, I was a dancer.
Yes, you were.
But primarily a character actor since I was about 10 years old.
I see.
I've been in theater since I was a little girl.
And Mr. Wentworth, how did you, distinguished-looking, professorial, corporate executive, president of a big company type of man, how did you get into show business?
I've been in show business since I was quite young, but I dropped out like many, many people, and I've only come back in as an older actor this past year.
I see.
I'm trying my luck again, and for better or worse.
Yes, well, we wish you well, and we hope that we'll have a chance to see the play. I want to mention a few
by the way, if you're just joining, we are watching an episode of the Dick Roffman Show. Richard H. Roffman presents. Thank you, everyone that is joining in here. I see Jack Theakston has joined us. I had the pleasure of meeting Jack. Hello, Jack, back in New York recently. He's been doing some great work in reviving 3D movies and restoring them. Hi, everyone else who has joined us a little late. Mr. Spilletta says, I just got to say, compared to all the crap on TV today, the show would win an Emmy. Yes, it's a crime that the show never won an Emmy, at least a local Emmy, right? Cenobite Mayor, want to thank you for your super sticker participation. Also want to thank Rick Cutler and Jose Montano, who contributed earlier. If you are able to contribute to Super Chat, please do. It all goes toward restoring this stuff and digitizing it. This particular tape is a little jumpy, and I apologize for that. These were all recorded off, VHS machines by me back in the 80s and 90s, often at slow speed, often on recycled tapes. So some have better quality than others, but, this stuff is old. So it's thankfully it's still holding up as well as it is. And I'm going to keep this rolling because there's a really funny performance toward the end of this. Let's keep going.
Things while we're here, and that one of them is that Evelyn Ninekin is a lady who is into poetry therapy, 4730392. She helps people unleash the fury of their talent within them that's kept under wraps until somebody comes along and lets it out and gives them a chance to express themselves. She is a dramatic teacher, but a poetry therapist as well. 4730392, Evelyn Ninekin. She does a lot of work in the community theater and in the regional theater without thought of commercial gain. She does a lot of shows for hospitals and, children's institutions and so on, and older people, and, senior citizens. I also want to praise today on the air Philip Francesco, who's both an artist and a singer. He excels in both areas. He is a fine artist of a very talented, background, and he does work that reminds me of Picasso, Salvatore Dali, etc. And he also is a operatic singer
his voice has been likened to that of Caruso and at times Mario Lanza. He will soon have a concert in New York at a concert hall where he will also display in the lobby of the place paintings that he has done recently. I also want to mention that we frequently are very proud to be working in such a way that we get an appearance on the Joe Franklin Show on Channel 9, and every time we go there, we happen to meet some very interesting people, and those people become guests on our show, so that we are able to put some of the guests that we discover on the Channel 9 show on our radio, which is on WNWK FM, on WNEW AM, on WRKS KISS FM, and also on this station where we are on cable TV, channels C, D, and J of cable TV, both Group W and Manhattan Cable. I also want to say at this moment that sometimes people are on this show and they make contacts, and out of the contacts they do well. Of just one such case recently, we had a man on who has a sound in his singing just like Frank Sinatra. His name is Ernie Country. As a result of that gimmick, which is really a truth and not a gimmick, he does sound like Frank Sinatra. He was on the David Letterman show twice, and he was on the David Susskind show once with me as one of my discoveries, and now he is getting bookings from various institutional clients, you know, from advertising agencies and so on, because they seem to like the idea that there is another person who sings unmistakably like Frank Sinatra. And also Ernie Country, by the way, comes from Hoboken, as does Frank Sinatra, and Hoboken is the town where I go frequently to visit a friend of mine, Arthur Pelez, who's an old friend and who has a restaurant there called the Hoboken Clam Broth House. I want to now say that we are very, very happy to have anybody out there who could get on a set here quickly. The idea is to come up very fast because we're closing down this first half hour. Is Richard Sills here? Richard Sills?
Mary Brooks.
Mary Brooks, come here, quickly. Yeah, Mary Brooks is a designer from Central Ice Slip, Long Island, and she has recently come to my attention. Did you bring any of your clothes with you today?
Yes, I did. Shall I run?
Yeah, right. Well, yes, bring them up because I was saving some time for you, and unfortunately, coming in from Central Ice Slip is quite a trip. And yeah.
Teddy Roosevelt.
Yeah, okay, sit down there for 1 minute, please. Your name is?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, yeah. You are a comedian
right.
who uses the name of Teddy Roosevelt, and you appear at Improv and other places like that, and
right.
You're going to appear anywhere soon?
Back to the Improv.
Yeah, okay. And now we want to go back to Mary Brooks, designer of Central Islip, Long Island. By the way, give me one look that you might throw out to the audience as Theodore Roosevelt, a gag or something. What do you say to them?
Well, I just came back from Beirut. They threw me out of the country 40 years ago, and now that they're all dead, my aunt and my uncle Eleanor and Franklin, I can come back. They said a Roosevelt shouldn't be trashy and flashy, but I want to be trashy and flashy, so I'm going to make it now 40 years later.
Thank you. Here is Mary Brooks, the designer, and here's Richard Sills. Could you come up here, Richard, please, all the way around? Mary Brooks, hold up some of the work that you have, please, and tell us describe that. Go ahead.
Okay, very good. I'm out of breath. This is wrinkled. I'm Mary Brooks from Central Islip, New York. I do designs anywhere from a size 3 to a size 60. Right fast. This is something like a size 3 to a 5. This is a rock suit. This is actually pebbles on this jumpsuit. Shut us stand.
Yeah.
Okay, these are actually pebbles. And as you can see, they are on there. You can bend, you can walk, you can dance, you can do anything in this, and they will not come off. Almost anything. Anyway, we do anything from a size 3 to a size 60, from 89 pounds to 425 pounds, from 4 feet tall to 6 foot
Mary
wide.
Brooks, I just want to say that in the spirit of public service to assist free enterprise, if anybody out there is the kind of person who could become interested in working with this Mary Brooks, it would be nice to get in touch with me.
Right.
Now, just before we close our show, I want to introduce one of our starring guests, Richard Sills, scientist and educator, author of, composer of marvelous songs, and also representing a marvelous Norman Harrison poster on the Statue of Liberty. And what would you like to say in the few moments we have left?
Well, I'd just like you to listen to the final mix of Ways of Love.
Ways of Love. In our engineering department, we have experts who are about to touch a button or two, and we're going to hear Ways of Love as presented through the wave.
Okay, so we're going to watch Richard Sills. So this guy happened to get to the studio late that day. I guess there was a lot of traffic. So these last three guests were arriving late to the studio. But Richard Sills was definitely a Roffman favorite. He must have contributed considerable money to Dick Roffman. And we're going to watch a song that he brought with him that I guess he composed, and we're just going to watch the two of them sitting there while this music plays, which is a classic public access technique. Joe Franklin used to do this as well a lot, where the person would just sit and stare at the camera while the music would play. Let's see what we've got going on here in chat. Ed Hulse is saying, "Oi, Roffman." Ed Hulse, I remember from my early New York days. Hello, Ed. Thanks for checking in. Pig Guy, very funny, says about that outfit, yeah, nothing more comfortable than a trash bag with a foot-wide lapel made of rocks. Let's see what else we've got here in chat. Cenobite Mayor is saying it was controlled chaos, this show. Yes, very much so. A lot of public access was controlled chaos, and sometimes not so controlled chaos. Let's see what else. I'm sorry, the comments are kind of getting away ahead of me. So, someone mentioned Frank Massey, and I mentioned Frank Massey earlier. And I want to say, the reason that those Frank Massey tapes are so well preserved is that a fan, Mitch Friedman, met with Frank Massey before he had died, obviously, and had convinced him to let him digitize all the tapes. And Mitch is actually a professional editor, so he and a friend digitized all those tapes from the masters, which is why those Stairway to Stardom clips are just so clean and have, gone so viral because they are so clean. But I agree. Some of you mentioned that, part of the charm of these old shows and these old VHS recordings is, some of the blips that go on. I know there are filters that actually are used to make stuff look like that, which is kind of funny. Cra Kit is saying, hi from Syracuse, New York. Hello, Cra Kit, and hope that it's not too cold up there where you are. So let's go back. Michael Tamaro is also saying Frank Massey was a little creepy. Michael, I don't know that Frank Massey was ever thought of as creepy years ago, but I do know that there is a popular YouTuber who kind of broke down the tapes and showed all these clips of him kissing the kids. And yeah, she made a pretty good argument for he and the show being kind of creepy. Anyway, let's go back and take a look now at Richard Sills proudly sitting there while his song plays, and he and Dick Roffman stare at the camera.
Of love, WAVES, Waves of Love, and here it is through Steve and the others in the engineering department.
Voice of the ocean, sound of the heart, as nighttime and days are crimson red, half flowing as light through trees. The sun is a large yellow circle. They walk like diamonds, reflecting colors of their hearts throbbing. It is day.
credits. Who are the people to be credited working with you on this mix?
Well, Chris Bond, who is the person who started the group Hall & Oates that I think many people know.
Yes.
And Bernard Bullock
Mhm.
did a great deal of the arrangement and the producing.
Okay, we want to thank Richard Sills and everybody else on the show, including the man with the cat tease item. What's the name of it? What do you call it?
Kitty tease.
Kitty tease. And also Helen Pappas, who is a distinguished person in the field of making you feel and look better. And she will tell you more about it in our next half hour. And all the other guests, Jurgen Jacobson, famous director of films and photographer, and Theodore Roosevelt, actually in private life, a noted real estate lady, and Mary Brooks, right? Mary Brooks,
Right.
Central Isley. What's your phone number?
516-234-1486.
Okay, we'll get back to all that later. I think we're just about running out of time, but I just want to say thank you for your letters, thank you for your suggestions, and I'm very happy that the Associated Press is doing a story about my cable TV career, 16 years, one of the, few people who have survived in this very difficult world.
Well, and there you have it. That was the Dick Roffman Show. Always fun to watch. And yeah, that ending number that Richard Sills provided was fantastic. And I'm glad to see that a number of you seem to enjoy that as well. Dennis Devine is saying, I think it was mentioned on our last TV watch party that Dick Roffman was a talent agent. Yeah, I guess he kind of considered himself that, Dennis. He basically... he would take contributions from these people and he would write press releases for them, typed out with typos and he would, feature them on his show. Obviously, he would go in and shoot a few of these at a time and just have this sea of people out in the waiting room, just shooting them back to back to back. Okay, so Amanda Luss is saying, gotta head out, guys. Always a pleasure. Thanks, Amanda Luss, for joining us. And thanks everybody who is here with us watching some of these classic public access clips from the 80s and 90s in New York. Those of you who participated so far in the Super Chat, much appreciated. Rick Cutler, Jose Montano, and Sino Bite Mayor. Am I getting that right? Sino, if I'm not, I apologize. But thank you, all of you, for participating in the Super Chat to help contribute to digitizing all this amazing footage. Okay, let's take a look now at a show called New Realities. And this show, I don't remember seeing a lot of episodes of it, and most of the episodes were kind of lackluster. However, this one was pretty special. This was a woman who could increase penis size or shape through hypnosis. She could also do it with breasts. She could increase or decrease the size through hypnosis. And so hopefully we'll all learn something here. Let's take a look.
How is it growing? He said, I want you to see it. And I'm going, that's okay, that's okay.
That's not really part of your job to see it.
That's not part of the therapy.
Trust
he said, no. He said, I think you should see. So I said, okay. It looked like a can. A can. It was so big around, it was as wide as a can. And I was like, I actually jumped back. And I was like, that thing was a bit scary to me. And what it was, I said, what were you thinking when you were doing the hypnotherapy? He said, I wanted it wider. I said, I thought you wanted it longer and wider. He said, I don't want it longer, I wanted it wider.
Oh my God.
And I said,
you created
that's
a monster.
Real wide there. And he's going, yeah, I know. And so, good for him. He likes it, he's proud of it. But you need to think about what you want. Watch what you wish for, it'll come true.
So we can create the optimum size and shape, and it's the same thing happened with the breasts, for women who have breasts that have dropped and sagged. And
that's what I did with my own. I've actually worked on my own body. I'm a big guinea pig, of course.
Of course.
And you can lift them tremendously. What do you think? The women that breastfeed, I know before the baby is born, they're thinking, my breasts are going to sag when I breastfeed. They're sagging before they breastfeed because they're thinking that. You need to watch what you think. I always say, you know, when you have to give a report or go talk to the boss or do something you're a little nervous about doing, what happens to you physically? Some people get butterflies in their stomach, some break out in a rash, some get pimples, some break out in sweat. It's your body and mind connecting. It's your mind affecting your body.
So
If you're just joining us, we are watching a show called New Realities. This was a public access show from the 90s in New York City. This is a woman who can help change the size of a penis or breasts through hypnosis. We are going to see her hypnotize the host. So you're in for a treat. Thank you, everyone who is joining us. Lee Santa in the chat is saying, is asking if I've ever seen the John Dacre video. Lee, I am going to say, the John Dacre public access video is maybe my #1 favorite public access clip of all time. If it's not #1, it's certainly in the top 5, right? It's like, you know how people have a hard time naming their favorite movies of all time or their favorite books of all time. It's hard to pick a #1, but the John Dacre video is amazing. And I actually was in touch with John Dacre and trying to book him when I was at Jimmy Kimmel Live, and he just wasn't interested in coming on and performing, unfortunately. So he has since passed away. But if any of you in watching the stream tonight have never seen the John Dacre video, it's pretty phenomenal. You'll find it all over YouTube. He was not from New York. He was not on New York Public Access, but he was on a public access show, and his performance is fantastic. Okay, thanks everyone who is participating and joining us. Thank you especially to those of you who have contributed in the Super Chat, Rick Cutler, Jose Montano, and Cenobite Mayer. Thank you all for participating in that and helping us to digitize these amazing videos. Let's go back now and watch this woman who is eventually going to get around to hypnotizing this host to help him with his penis size.
The reason that you actually deal with breasts and penises, though, is because, well, it's flashy, it's fashionable, but it's also easy. Those tissues are particularly easier to manipulate.
Easy to do. And it's funny, believe me, I've been quizzed a number of times. Why would you work with such sexual things? And everyone turns their nose up. But it's not for the flash, it's what ails people and makes people so self-conscious, so unsure of themselves, especially impotency and sexual problems with men. That ruins your life. Being so ashamed of not being flat-chested. And a lot of people say, who cares if you're flat-chested or not?
Well, some people don't care.
Really care, and if you can do it with your mind, where's the harm in it?
Of course,
and
I think it's great.
It makes everyone feel better. And it's so funny when I have groups of women. Men I do individually, but my groups of women, they all walk in the door the first day, ho-hum, ho-hum, ho-hum. And then when they leave at the end of 12 weeks, they stand differently. They look different. It's not just they have a different size bra, but they look so different because they have confidence in themselves. They feel so much better about themselves.
And you can also make breasts smaller as well.
Yes. I'm actually about to start a group with that.
And weight loss. You're working with weight loss.
I have a group right now.
And this is all 12 weeks?
No. The weight loss group is 6 weeks. And the penis and the breast are 12 weeks.
And you have this tape set.
That you actually, yes, you don't have to come to me. All you have to do is listen to the tape. The tapes are all 15 to 20 minutes long.
Really?
And people say, oh, I'm too busy, I don't have time. If you can't spare 15 minutes a day for yourself, you need to reevaluate your life.
So this is a daily practice working with you and your technique.
Yeah.
You have to do it every single day for 12 weeks.
You know, I'm not going to curse you if you skip a day or something.
I'm saying that's how it's effective.
It's best if you do it 7 days a week. 15 minutes a day. That doesn't take that much time. Your busiest, most hectic day, that's the day you should listen to this tape.
Really?
It helps calm you. It gives you that 15 minutes just to take that deep breath, to center yourself, to settle.
Is there any, do you want to do like a quick thing just to show people?
Yeah, let's do a
I'd love
quickie.
to, well, sure.
And, I mean, you know, I've never worked with you ever,
No.
ever.
And I actually,
So-
you were going to hypnotize me slightly. I did have, someone tried to hypnotize me once that I actually had a problem
Okay.
doing
What-
that, but
Not
I mean, I
to
had a
worry.
problem getting hypnotized, so.
I do want to emphasize, I do not hypnotize my client the first time this
Okay.
way. I take nice 20, 25 minutes to do it very simply, but because of our time limit,
Right.
I'm going to do a real quickie induction on you. Hypnosis is just a state of relaxation, a state of concentration.
Okay.
So I'm going to get up for a moment. I'm just going to stand up right in front of you
Okay.
and just take a few deep breaths as we get situated here.
Okay.
Now what we're going to do, I'm just going to take your hand
Mhm.
and I'm just going to start loosening you up here.
Mhm.
And just allow yourself to relax, stay calm, at ease. Just relax and breathe easily, taking a nice deep breath, very calm, breathing at peace. When you exhale, breathe out any doubt, any tension. You're just going to relax, there's nothing to worry about. You're just going to be calm, at ease, wonderful. When I use the word sleep, that just means you'll be hypnotized very lightly, very, very lightly, lightly relaxed. Your hands very light and loose now. Your body's feeling light and loose. You're feeling wonderful, feeling good, feeling wonderful. Just keep your eyes closed. Keep everything nice and calm. Nice and calm. Sleep. Okay, just stay nice and calm and easy. Keep your head down there. Okay. You're just in a very light state of relaxation here. Now just listen to my wording. Just keep your head nice and relaxed. Keep your neck relaxed.
Mhm.
See how lightly just touch your head. Just stimulate this area. And I want you to imagine yourself in your bathtub. You're in your bathtub or a beautiful bathtub of your dreams. Your bathtub or a beautiful bathtub of your dreams. And in this bathtub, the water is the perfect temperature. The perfect temperature. And you're all the way, it's a huge bathtub, a huge bathtub. You're totally relaxed. Totally calm. The water is surrounding your entire body. It's perfect temperature. Everything smells wonderful. Everything smells great there. And you're so relaxed and calm and at ease. And then it's funny. The water starts twirling and whirling and twirling around your penis. It's just like a whirlpool bath. The water is twirling and whirling around your penis. It's a very healthy feel. Very energizing, and you feel wonderful. You feel that water twirling and whirling. You know it's very, very safe. You know you're in a safe place. There's nothing to worry about. The water twirls and whirls and twirls and whirls around your penis, around your scrotum, all in your groin area, stimulating your prostate, keeping it nice and small and healthy. But it seems as though your penis is responding in a very healthy way. You can feel it, you can see it, you can sense it getting larger and larger and larger. You can sense it and feel it getting fuller and fuller and fuller, longer and longer, wider and wider. You can feel that water swirling and twirling and whirling around your penis, around your scrotum. You can feel the hormones floating down your body. You can feel the movement in the area. You can feel the slight tingling in your scrotum, just a slight tingling. The movement is twirling and whirling and swirling and twirling and whirling. You feel very safe. You feel very healthy, very, very good. You know this twirling, whirling water helps you with your sexuality. You're in total control sexually. Total control sexually. Your penis is getting larger and larger. It's responding to this magical, wonderful water. It's responding to this magical, wonderful water. And the water continues to swirl and twirl and twirl and swirl and swirl and twirl all around your scrotum, all around your penis. You feel it, you see it, you sense it responding. You know that you want your penis to be longer and longer, wider and wider. You know that it's healthy. You know that you deserve this, just like you deserve all good things for yourself, all good things for your body. This twirling and whirling and swirling motion makes your penis grow longer and longer and longer. The blood's flowing through, the hormones are floating down very safely, very, very safely. And you know that the movement is happening. You can feel the tingling. You can feel the movement. You can feel the sensation. And you just lie back in that bathtub and enjoy this experience. Now, because of lack of time, I'm just going to count you back real quickly. I'm going to count you back from 1 to 3. On the count of 3, you're going to feel wonderful and totally awake. As people can notice, his eyelids are flickering a little bit. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but they are flickering a little bit, just so you know he's in a slightly different state of mind. Number 1, you know that your penis is getting larger and larger to the full size that you deserve. Number 2, you're feeling wonderful, almost back, feeling very healthy and full of energy, very centered and safe. And number 3, when you get ready, you can open your eyes feeling wonderful in every way. Just take your time.
Okay. The first thought that came to me is let's take Junior out for a test drive. No. But I get the idea.
Did you see? It chokes you up. I mean, that was just a real quickie version of it, just so you can get a little feel for it, a little sense of, you know, what I do.
That was just a nice, relaxed state. I mean,
yeah.
I can see how you could, you know, focus that energy on any part of the body.
Exactly.
I mean, I happen to be happy with myself.
Good, good.
But, you know, we always can use more encouragement, more, you know, self-esteem.
That, like I said, that's my main focus, to make you happy and self-confident. All the growth is almost a side effect.
Yeah, and I think, you know, because you're basically healing people on those levels of emotion, and then building themselves up so they can...
Well, I think you get the idea on that clip. There was a question asked, was there a dog in the studio? The dog is actually here, and somehow Lucy... Lucy was very upset with that clip, I think. Lucy's looking like the dog on that famous cover of the National Lampoon right now. I'm sorry, Lucy, for subjecting you to that. And I'm sorry for subjecting any of you to that weren't quite prepared for all the twirling and whirling, as Pig Guy points out. But this is what public access was. You know, you never knew what you were going to get. You might, you know, you flip on the public access channel and you might see Dick Roffman doing his, you know, his talk show, such as it was, or you might see Beyond Vaudeville, or you might see that show that we just watched. So let's take a look at another clip of a different show. I want to thank everyone who is joining us here tonight. Thank you for those who have participated in the Super Chat, which helps us to digitize all these tapes. The thanks in the Super Chat go out to Rick Cutler, Jose Montano, and Cenobite Mayer. Thank you, all of you, for participating. Let's see. Adam Droid is saying, don't be sorry. That was amazing. Forget Dick Roffman. I'm not even going to repeat what you said there, Adam Droid. Rip said that was hilarious. Yeah, it's something for everybody here. So I'm glad you are finding this enjoyable. Skyscraper Television saying, wish I knew how to use Super Chat. Skyscraper, I'm not sure exactly how it works. I think if you just click on the Super Chat, like money sign, I think you can contribute whatever you wish. But I'm not certain of that, but I believe that's how it works. Anyway, let's take a look at a public access clip. This is not from Manhattan Public Access. This is from upstate New York, and the guy's name is Mr. Phil. Mr. Phil appeared on Oddville. Never appeared on Beyond Vaudeville because I don't think we knew him back in those days. But he had his own public access show. In fact, I think he's still doing his own public access show in upstate New York. He worked during the day as a bus depot operator. He has since retired from that. But here he is. Matthew Fuller's asking Utica or Albany. It's actually Port Jervis, Matthew. I'm not familiar exactly where Port Jervis is, but maybe you know. So let's call up Mr. Phil.
Maybe I didn't love you quite as often as I could have. Maybe I didn't treat you quite as good as I should have. If I made you feel second best, girl, I'm sorry I was blind. You were always on my mind. You were always on my mind.
All right, that was just a little bit of Mr. Phil. And Scott Dog said, waiter, check, please. Jason P. Voorhees says he's cooking. It looks like a lot of you know where Port Jervis is and have cleared that up for us. Thank you. It's where New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania all meet in the top left corner of New Jersey. I guess there's a chance I've been through there, but I'm not sure if I have. Okay, this is another clip. This is Dame Bernice Perry. She was a super Frank Sinatra fan. She just worshipped Frank Sinatra. We had Dame Bernice Perry. She was a guest on Beyond Vaudeville. And she was very flirtatious with David. In case you ever saw that, if you haven't seen it, you can watch it at Beyond Vaudeville on YouTube. So let's take a look at Dame Bernice Perry. This is just a piece of her show doing a reading for Frank Sinatra.
Magnificently glorious. In the hush of a lifetime, you are our American world cherished, inspirational champion treasure, my special hero, king among men, king among people. With your godlike passion for eternal truth, your humanitarian spiritual feelings are forever enhanced. You are to be eternally, infinitely embraced by our blessed Lord above. Mr. Sinatra, Francis Albert, you are mortally more than just a voice. You are a superb, unique, precious man. Encircling the world round, your young blue eyes brings golden glows of sunshine into all our hearts. Your beautiful spirit reaches out and creates haunting melodies in our everyday, every moment. 400 years more, and more. Love is where you are. This love of mine goes on and on. Mr. Sinatra, Francis Albert, happy, happy birthday from here to eternity. All my love, and God be with you always. And now...
And I had that on.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of Dame Bernice Perry. I'm going to call up another clip. Let me just find it here. Okay, here we go. So this is whoops. This is Coco Colos. So Coco Colos had a show on for a while in the 90s. I think the show started in 1993. It ran at least 3 years. And Coco was a strange personality. She would take phone calls. She would kind of writhe around the studio. And she made some appearances. She made actually a few appearances on the Jerry Springer show. She would show up on there. They had seen her public access show and invited her on the show, and she would do a thing where she kept saying that she wanted Jerry Springer to come to her hotel room, and she would chase him around the studio, and he would run away from her. This was before Jerry Springer landed on the whole fighting thing on stage. So let's watch some of Coco Colos. Scott Dog is saying, "Wow, you're holding out on us. More Coco, please." Here you go, Scott. Sounds like you're a fan.
Knowing for sure if it's dry, or is it just an illusion because the light is on me and are sort of making the mood? Am I losing my head? Some people have been asking me, are you for real? What kind of a question is that? Am I for real? As if I was supposed to know the answer to that question. Do you know the answer to that question? Am I for real? Is there an answer to a question like this? Or is it just a rhetorical question who is not supposed to have an answer to it? I love those questions that do not need to have an answer because you are allowed not to know the answer. Are you for real? This is something that people have been telling me, asking themselves since...
Here's my little hint.
Oh, sorry about that.
As far as my memories goes back, how long do I have a memory? I don't know. My memory is... I forgot. You see how exciting it is to have a memory when you don't remember what... If you have a memory at all. Is she for real? Is she? Is she supposed to know? Do you know if I'm for real? Let's see. Hello? 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 You see?
Hello?
Yes.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, who is this?
This is Bob. How are you?
Hi, Bob.
I know. Can you hear me still? Okay. You dropped your microphone, didn't you?
What?
You dropped your microphone, didn't you?
You what?
You dropped your microphone.
Yeah, so? It's on their microphone.
That's all. I know you're for real, Coco.
Yeah? How'd you know that?
I can tell you're for real.
Yeah?
But are your breasts for real?
Yeah? So give us an answer because I have been receiving a lot of mail asking me, are you for real?
Well, I know you're for real. I'm wondering if your tits are for real.
Yeah?
Yeah, your breasts.
All right.
Can we see?
Hello? Hello?
Donna?
Hello? Yes, who is this? I thought I had, someone. Hello? Hello?
I should point out that there was no screening on these public access call-in shows. Actually, there were some that would have screeners only because they would get so many crank phone calls and they didn't want crank phone calls. Some of the more serious shows, obviously. But a lot of the shows didn't care about, crank calls or, if somebody called and said something they didn't like, they would just hang up on them, like this one, Coco Colos. So let's go back to watch some more of Coco.
Hello? All right. You know, we're going to leave it in suspense. And, you know, on that question, we're going to leave the show. Is she for real? I want you to write to me and giving me your thought and your answer about that question. Is Coco Colos for real, or she's just a fantasy? Something that doesn't really exist. A product of our imagination, of our dreams. Is Coco Colos a dream? Are we dreaming about her and wondering if that dream is real, or is it just dreaming about a dream? Are we just imagining reality? Is reality real? How do we know? I'm asking you. I want you to tell me if you are real. Can I count on you? Can I count on you when I do not have anything yet? Would you be
And there you go, Manhattan Neighborhood Network. There was just nothing like it. Shows like that. Imagine just having 4 channels in New York that were just putting this kind of stuff on around the clock. Yeah, it looks like somebody tried to call the Bag of Donuts number no longer in service. Yeah, this would have been probably around 1995, that clip. It was a long time ago. If you're just joining, we are watching classic public access clips from the 80s and 90s, New York. Thank you, everyone, for joining us tonight and watching these with us. And thank you especially for those who have participated in the Super Chat. Rick Cutler, Jose Montano, and Cenobite Mayer. Thank you for your contributions to the Super Chat, which helps us in digitizing all of these tapes. So Adam Droid says, have you heard of Jack Jerzowitz on Brainstorms? I think he was a New York public access personality in the 90s. Adam, that one is new to me. It's possible I would know Jack Jerzowitz by face, but it's not ringing a bell. Okay, we're going to take a look now at Dr. George Kayatta. He appeared on our show on Beyond Vaudeville with who was there? Tiny Tim. We had a performing pig on that show as well. Dr. Kayatta considered himself, he called himself the Renaissance man. Of course, we knew of William Brown as our Beyond Vaudeville Renaissance man, but this guy would go by Renaissance man himself, the title. He wrote a self-published book all about his different mathematical theories. And he also, there was a children's show called The Magic Garden that was syndicated back sometime, I think, in the 70s. And he wrote the theme song to The Magic Garden. Anyway, let's take a look at Dr. George Kayatta doing a show that he shot himself, it appears, on his camcorder in his apartment, and then turned the tape in. Great FLMD 3AD. Thank you for the super chat. It's much appreciated. Skyscraper Television saying, speaking of Tiny Tim, the reflection on your light is perfectly on his teeth in the photo behind you, Rich. Oh yeah, look at that. Wow. It looks like Tiny has a ping pong ball or an egg in his mouth from that. Matthew Fuller, "Come to See Your Garden Grow and Grow." Yes, that's the song that this gentleman wrote. So here is Dr. Kayatta talking about his accomplishments and how much he is underappreciated as the world's foremost genius.
For me, hooray for you because of my achievements and because of your allowing me to say these things. I have all the great things that I've done. I'm not looking for the big bucks. Just to get the recognition of the great things that I've done. You have no idea what it's like to be a mega genius in this country. It just is. It's like I feel that I am a super horse being trained in a chicken farm. How can you possibly understand it? How can you understand it? You can't compare to someone who's a POW. I'm not speaking about that. Speaking about directly about what it is. You've got the greatest genius on earth today, and everybody should know. I mean, what are you looking for? I can't understand it. I'm sorry if you're looking for someone else, someone who looks different, or someone who has a different name. I'm sorry. The gifts were given to me. You know, Leonardo gave me the baton. I have it. And I use it as a club half the time to get these people to understand. I'm just going to say a couple more things. This is going to be published in the Lebanese American Journal soon. Headlines: Kayatta considered mega genius, in sole contention for.
So, by the way, he's reading this letter or something he had received from somebody confirming that he is a genius, and you'll see him breaking up as he reads this. Here we go.
Very first Nobel Prize in mathematics. During 1987 and 1988, the LAJ was exclusively privileged to publish highlights of the 4-volume planetarium papers which engendered the New Renaissance periodical, which at present deals with patriot Dr. George Kayatta's most recent mathematical insights and discoveries. It has been said and written that George Kayatta has conquested, conquered, and claimed for the United States more new mathematical land, more new laws, more revolutionary paths, more visionary progress, scientific direction than any other mathematical theorist, living or dead. That's very proud. You know, I don't walk around being the greatest on my, but I feel I am the greatest, and I really feel. Summer.
And there you have it. That was Dr. Kayatta breaking up, reading a letter praising him as a genius. Wayne Letterkenny is saying, did you ever encounter the great Daryl Nathan? I never did, Wayne. The late, great Daryl Nathan, unfortunately. But yes, Daryl Nathan, I do have some of his shows on tape from his show out in Detroit, I believe. And he was great. I definitely loved him. Dennis Devine says, pairing up Dr. Kayatta with the erection therapist lady would have been an unstoppable duo. Yeah, that would have been pretty special. Great Florida, I think it's Florida MD 3AD, not sure, says that letter was published in Highlights magazine. That's pretty funny. And Matthew Fuller said he has all the charm God gave a potato. So anyway, you'll see Dr. Kayatta on an episode of Beyond Vaudeville with Tiny Tim, and I had to cut him short to bring on the dancing pig. So very funny that somebody in here said Michael Tomorrow said that he looks like a Doonesbury character. That's right on. Never really thought of it that way, but absolutely. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. The Beyond Vaudeville shop at Etsy should be open again in another week or two, where you can get stuff like this shirt featuring the original sign for the show. And so I'm just reading the comments. Never follow a dancing pig. Yeah, it's you don't want to follow a dancing pig. Anyway, so thank you all for participating tonight. We watched some fun stuff. We saw some Dick Roffman shows. We saw new realities. We saw Mr. Phil. We saw Dame Bernice Perry and Coco Colos and Dr. Kayatta. Just an all-star lineup. And you can see some of those people on the Beyond Vaudeville shows. If you haven't already, please be sure to like videos. People tell us that if you hit like, it helps spread these videos wider. And Michael tomorrow points out you also saw Lucy the dog. Yes, a surprise appearance by Lucy the dog. Dables, Beyond Vaudeville for Life. Thank you, Dables. Thank you, everybody, for joining us tonight. And we'll likely still be doing these on Mondays. Maybe we'll do second ones on Wednesdays if there's enough demand for it. So thanks, everybody, for joining, and have a great evening or day wherever you are. I know people are checking in from all around the world. So wherever you are in the world, hope you have a great day or evening, and thanks for joining. Bye.